co-host
and everyone
as well.
else who's chipped in. It's been great to
episodes
hear
along the way.
so many different things and so many different people. I've really enjoyed the ones I've listened to as much as ones I've been a part of. So it has been great.
Yep. So on to the normal host awards then. The full Brian Davies Award for Contributor of the Year. This is to the person who's basically...
Let's give people background of what the original Fulbright was.
Oh yeah, of course. Back in the day, before we had the Google form, we actually used to give 2 awards out for kind of people getting in touch. We had the Diane LBW Award for Tweeter of the Year. That was the person who got in touch the most over Twitter. And the Scott Lister Award for Facebooker of the Year. That was for the person who got in touch the most over Facebook, named after 2 prolific performers in those areas in our very first year back in 2014. Then, when we introduced the Google form for getting match reviews, we had to think.
No, it was before the Google.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling the story.
Right.
Let me tell the story.
All right, I just thought you'd forgotten.
No. So then, when we brought in the Google forms, obviously, we had to rethink this award because most of our views were coming in through the Google form for the match reviews. So we had to think of who could we name this award and what could we name this award after to truly recognise what this award is for, which is the person who gets in touch relentlessly with their views for us to share and be a hugely active part of the show. And the reason it was named the full Brian Davies Award is back when we did have those different platforms for getting our reviews in, Brian Davies made a specialty, didn't he?
Yeah.
Of covering all the bases. And the full Bri was getting some feedback into the show by email, through Facebook, and on Twitter, all in the same episode. And that was referred to as a full Bri.
I was the second person to get a full Bri, and it was some effort. But there'd been about 30. He'd done about 30 before I'd even got there.
Yeah. Well, Bri then obviously took it even further. He contributed a blog post to the blog, which is superleaguepod.com. If you want to read any piece on there, Brian's will be there in the past in the archive. He's also been on the show earlier in the year, and we're going to be speaking to him next week actually when we recap the international season. So Brian Davies. He's been there, he's done it all, and that's why this is the full Brian Davies Award for Contributor of the Year. And actually, 2017 was the first year of this, and Brian Davies was the co-winner of it with Tyler Casfan for the 2 people who got in the most reviews of, basically the most feedback that went into the show. This year's winner, and those regular listeners to the show will find this no surprise, this year's winner is always the first name on every televised match for the match reviews. He is incredibly consistent. Even when he had a brief spell where his internet situation meant he wasn't getting the Super League games, he still managed to end the season with more match reviews, more news views than anyone else. And that is the one, the only, the wonderful Carsten Brummer, the Swiss Cowboy. Carsten actually got a bit of a sneak that he'd won this award because I gave him a medal on Sunday and didn't tell him what award he'd won. So congratulations, Carsten. Do you want to take us through what the next award is and who's won it before, and then I'll announce the winner of that one?
Yep. So the Paul Campbell Award. Paul.
We could do that all night.
We could.
Paul. I love Paul. I miss Paul.
Come back, Paul.
He does get in touch sometimes. We haven't managed to cross paths at any events this year, which is disappointing because Paul. He's always got something that he's got a bee in a bonnet about, and it's entertaining. But yeah, Paul Campbell, Fan of the Year award. Who's won it before?
In 2014, it was of course Paul Campbell. In 2015, it was the one and only Mr. Rich Wilkinson. In 2016, the award came back to the London area, and it was Aaron Smith picking it up. And in 2017, it was, of course, Brian Davies winning.
Yeah, Peterborough's finest. And this award basically goes out to the person out there who's gone above and beyond to support the game, to in terms of either doing extra for their club that they follow. So Paul Campbell won it for just his relentless beating of the drum for the London Broncos and for how many games he got to of the London Broncos, and he was actually their Fan of the Year. Do you remember they had the vote for the Fan
thing
of the Year?
Where you could walk on the pitch holding a giant flag.
At the grand final, yeah. So Paul Campbell won that for the London Broncos, so obviously won it for SLP. In 2015, Rich Wilkinson ditched his life in Oz, potentially, faced wrath at home for it, but had to get on a flight to watch Kevin Sinfield and Jamie Peacock's final games in Leeds Rhinos shirt. So came over for the grand final that year. That was above and beyond a round the world trip to do that at the last minute. So Rich Wilkinson won it that year for that. Aaron Smith in 2016 was our Brentwood Eels correspondent, if you remember. And basically the level of commitment and passion he'd put into the game, having kind of followed it to then being completely absorbed by it, just really impressed us in 2016. And of course, Brian Davies in 2017 was the only person we're aware of that went to the mid-season international where England played against Samoa in Campbelltown. So then he also
went to about 5 other games while he was there.
Yeah. Then he also doubled down by going to the whole of the World Cup as well. So without question, he was fully deserving it. And in that vein of what those men have done before,
international commitment is now a minimum requirement.
This man has shown incredible dedication supporting not one local team, but 2 local teams.
He's got 2 season tickets, which is crazy. And he goes to see an amateur team pretty much every week as well.
No, exactly. He covers it all, and he manages to still fit in some women's cricket in between, remarkably, and the odd Orchid Festival as well. This man has also jumped on a plane this year in aid of supporting the sport he loves. He went to Toronto to watch the London Broncos play against the Toronto Wolfpack.
The first time they went.
This man has travelled north to spend time with us at the Summer Bash, at the Magic Weekend, at the first international game in Hull. This man is, of course, Dr. Hideous, David Cantrell. Congratulations, you are the 2018 Paul Campbell Fan of the Year.
Yeah, massively deserved. To just a really lovely guy who just absolutely loves his rugby and goes everywhere up and down. Because he even, don't forget, he was going to Bradford when it was snowing to watch Scholars play Bradford, and he was ready to go in the snow, and then the game got called off the night before. So right back. He's been up and down the country, and
following his beloved Scholars and Broncos.
Yeah, and I've been lucky to spend a few games with him, both at Scholars and when Coventry beat them. Yes, Coventry did beat Scholars. Let's remind everybody of that. And at the London Grand Finals, and I went to see Broncos play Lee. Saw that game with him, and I've probably missed a couple of times, but just more than deserved for me.
Huge commitment to supporting the sport as well as the teams he follows. So well done too, Dave. Okay, moving on next. What's the next award we got, Tim?
Yeah, the next one is the Hodgson O'Brien Hero Award.
And this award is given out basically for those guys who encourage some charity activity from us cold hard northerners and open our hearts up to those who need, and they put themselves and their bodies on the line to do that. So take us through who's won the award before.
Yeah, in 2016 it was, of course, Dom Hodgson and Paul O'Brien. And do you want to give us some more background on what they did to get this award the first time?
Well, Dom does a lot of running to raise charity for Martin House, which we talked about a lot of times this year. And that year Paul also raised money for charity. If I'm not wrong, it was the he did some stuff with the Paul King, the player Matt King, the player
Matt
who was in the wheel who got paralysed, and he did some stuff for the Bobby Robson Foundation, I think. But Paul did plenty of fundraising that year. That's for certain. In 2017. It was Dom Hodgson and Rich Langley. Now, Dom, again, same, consistent.
Keep on running.
Runs his heart out. And Rich Langley got it for kind of what he did for us, with us, to raise money to give back to the community game from the Super League pod. He really coordinated an effort, which has now rolled on to this year, where we've done a lot more of being able to give money back. And actually, that reminds me, I need to get in touch with your mate down at Sussex Merlins.
He chatted to me the other week and
I'm sorry
said about that. I just said you're on holiday.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what's won it before. This year, the 2018 winners of the Hodgson O'Brien Hero Award, again 2 winners because
Three-peat. Three-peating for Dom Hodgson.
Can't just give it out to one person, this award, because so many people do so much good stuff for charity. So the winners are Dom Hodgson and Lee Whitnell. Now, of course, Lee Whitnell raised a huge amount of money, and the Super League Pod family really supported him in running the Great North Run. He'd never run a half marathon before. His wife ran it as well, and Kath, and they raised a load of money to get new kit and stuff for the Newton Storm. So they did a great job there. And Dom Hodgson, do you know what? He's done great in 2016. He did fantastic in 2017. In 2018, he's taken it to an absolute new
galaxy.
Yeah, and on top of the donations that he's received for the stuff he did, he actually is going to end up this year donating £10,000 to Martin House charity for filling up a little bit of making it up from his own business, as the charity his business supports as well as the one he personally supports. But really, I take you back to that day in September, and I've talked about this a lot on the show. Dom came on the show just after it, and we talked about it. What he did when he didn't get his Great North Run entry because of a snafu by the charity, So
you or I or anyone else would have just said, okay, not doing the Great North Run, not doing anything now. I'll have the rest.
Yeah,
fine.
And you know what? The rest. Yep. The amount of other 10Ks, 5Ks, half marathons he's done. He's just finished last weekend a 5K, 10K and half marathon over 3 successive days in Florida. I mean, they were at 5 o'clock in the morning, but when I got to Florida the other week at 8 p.m., it was 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm pretty sure it was still warm at 5 o'clock in the morning when he was doing his runs. But not only all that, but yeah, he arranged his own half marathon event at a park in Leeds, got drummed up support from friends and family, and the SLP community to go and support him. He does these in ridiculous fancy dress. He really draws attention to himself and the fact that he can't actually run. and he just does it all for a good deed. So, do you know, I can't say enough about how proud I am of Dom as a bloke, and Lee as well for what he's done this year. And they are such well-deserving they totally deserve the recognition of an SLP award. So when you two next see me, guys, you'll get a medal. Well
done, boys.
What's next?
Next one is the Lee Whitnell Rookie of the Year Award.
Bloody hell, the same people keep coming up. We need to think about. We need to get some new friends.
We need to widen the gene pool. Well, I'm doing my best to recruit listeners at the moment, or a listener. So we'll see what happens this time next year. Previous winners of the Lee Whitnell Rookie of the Year Award include, Mark?
In 2016, obviously, Lee Whitnell, the first year we gave out the award to recognise newcomers to the community. Lee Whitnell won it that year with hilarious contributions. In 2017, it was Saints fan David Powell who won the Lee Whitnell Rookie of the Year award. Just for a totally new level of enthusiasm into the group, into the SLP family.
Because we weren't particularly high on Saints fans around that time either.
No, true. We weren't. It wasn't that we didn't like them. We just didn't have loads of them.
No, I wonder why a podcast mainly presented by a Wigan fan didn't have many Saints fans.
Shocking, isn't it? If they actually listened to it, they'd find out there's quite a lot of balance. And I talk a lot about how much I love James Roby, but hey. But yeah, David Powell really did show.
They're all the Regan Grace fans. Yeah, that's why I don't tune in.
Dave Powell showed us what someone new to the community can add to the community. Really, when he came in, he was so enthusiastic about the community. And in that vein, the winner of the 2018 Lee Whitnell Rookie of the Year award has been awarded to a man who has fully bought in. And when I say bought in, and I'm not, people who've given money to the cause it's not necessarily all about that, but when I say bought in, he has literally bought in. He's been involved in feedback, he's been involved in making friends with other people within the SLP family, and he's bought SLP merchandise effectively. So and he's done all that from his base in Canada,
4,000 miles away.
Yep. So and he deserves some respect as well. That he doesn't live in Toronto. He drives about 3 or 4 hours to get to Toronto Wolfpack home games and stays in a hotel quite often so he can have a beer and enjoy the pleasures of the beer garden. He wears his SLP t-shirt 2 games. He gets pictures of himself at games wearing it. It is, of course, Genghis Campbell.
Well done. My one regret is that we didn't know of each other when I went over to Toronto last year, because I would love to have met him.
Definitely, for sure. We are both disappointed in our correspondence all year has been next year we'll meet. Maybe not, but soon enough, I'm sure we will. Okay, on to the Dargana SLP International Listener of the Year Award. This is someone from